What's up, boxing fans? So, April 19, we shall see, 3 weeks from now, we shall see the unification fight in the light heavyweight division, where the IBF champ Bernard Hopkins is colliding with the WBA champ Shumenov. Hopkins. Well, everyone knows who Hopkins is. He's been fighting as a professional since 1988, when Shumenov, his current opponent, was only 5-year-old. And during his remarkable career, Hopkins had fights with many very famous guys, including Roy Jones, Joe Calzaghe, Taylor, and many others. And he held all the world belts in the middle and light heavyweight divisions, and for many years. And there were so many of those belts that even hard even to count. Well, Hopkins has superior skills as a fighter, and but his fights are frequently boring, and many people find his fights boring because when fighting any worthy opponents, when he fights someone easy, then he fights perfectly alright. But he fights something worthy or dangerous opponent, he frequently resorts to dirty fighting techniques. He does whatever it takes, including holding and hitting when the referee stands on the other side, and as well as standing on about step farther than the longest distance to his opponent, where even the elephant's trunk wouldn't reach him. So I personally, me too, I don't like this kind of fights, but he does the trick, and he's very clever, very, he's thinking on his feet all the time. And I call him the old fox for this ability. His power is a little bit questionable to me. He has only about 50% knockout ratio in his fights, and the majority of his knockouts took place in his early days when he was younger, when he was fighting mostly bums early in his career. And it's hard to remember who the last one whom he knocked out. I believe it was De La Hoya. He knocked him out with a beautiful liver punch, and the year was, I believe, 2004. Yeah, 2004, which is about 10 years ago. Since then, I don't believe he knocked out anybody. Well, now Shumenov. Well, he's from Kazakhstan, the same country, that's where Golovkin is from. Shumenov has a pretty decent boxing skills. He's been having pretty good amateur career, but in the professional career he has only 15 fights, and he's decent, pretty decent, but he's predictable. He throws something and he doesn't hide it much, so his opponents could see his intention. And his speed also desired to be a little bit better. Though he has some pretty good power in his both hands, which he showed in his last fight against, it was last December. He showed it against his opponent from Slovakia, I believe. His name is Tomáš Kovač. It was an undefeated fighter, and he knocked him down pretty good with his left hook in the first round. And then he dispatched him as a knockout with his straight right in the third round. So now, so who's gonna win? Hopkins or Shumenov? Well, I don't know, but it's a good question. As I heard, all the boxing experts predict the victory, sure victory for Hopkins, and some of them even went to say that Shumenov has no chance, to which I disagree. I do believe Shumenov has a chance, and it all depends how he builds the fight, how the fights go. As I said, one of the favorite techniques of Hopkins is lingering, staying beyond the longest point of the longest distance, and being, which makes him unreachable. And then he looks from that long distance, safe distance, and then when he sees any opening, he jumps suddenly with his left hook or straight right, and then that's how he initiates his mostly attacks. And he's pretty successful, but he doesn't throw many punches. So if being Shumenov, I wouldn't let Hopkins to rest at this long distance. I would jump and I would initiate attacks by myself. I would be super aggressive. I would go on an attack all the time. I would jump into, I would walk into Hopkins with my jabs, and I would throw not just one jab, but at least 3, maybe 5, maybe 7 jabs. Light, quick, but exact jabs with my steps, shortening the distance and getting Hopkins out of his comfort zone and out of his balance. And then once I feel he is out of balance, I would initiate my attack with my right, and I also would throw not just 1 or 2 punches attack with my right, but at least 5 punches. And I would not commit myself into the first 3 punches. It would be light, quick punches, but then I feel that I connected something. Only after that I would start putting in my power in with last 2 punches. Ba-bam! And it's easy to knock out anybody, including Hopkins, in this fashion. Also, when I wouldn't let Hopkins to get into the close distance, I would keep him in the middle distance as the closest. But if he gets into, I would not let him to fight in the, in clinching. But if he goes for clinching, I wouldn't be afraid of it. Shumenov is more athletic than Hopkins, and being Shumenov, I would go in the same story, try to break it, or go with the throwing lots of uppercuts with the steps to the side or the steps to the back, backward, and throwing punches in, and then throwing my, short, powerful, hooks, and push him off if necessary, and then let the referee looks at what's going on. And I do believe that if doing so, Shumenov has a pretty good chance to win this fight, maybe even by knockout. What else? Well, basically that's how it is. And Shumenov, he can win this fight if he does the same what I just said. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on April 19th. So until then, we'll say until then.